Hi folks, Joseph Kursky here with you to analyze one of the most well-known first uses of maps as more than reference documents. In other words, maps as analytical tools that could be used in decision-making environments to make a better world, to make smarter decisions. And that is the John Snow cholera map from the cholera epidemic, late August 1854, London, Soho district. Let's go ahead and look at that inside of ArcGIS Online. Why are we going to do that? Because it's going to illustrate the power that spatial technology has, and it's going to bring that story to life with using data and analytical tools. So go ahead and pull up that web map. It's going to be in ArcGIS Online, and it's going to look similar to this. You'll notice the classic John Snow map, which is probably in just about every introductory geography textbook on the planet. And if you want to dig deeper into this story, I certainly encourage you to do so, especially if you're teaching this unit to students, because the story really brings this whole mapping activity to life. So you'll see the John Snow cholera map. You'll see the hatch marks that he put every time there was a cholera case, which unfortunately back then meant pretty much a death sentence. So all of the cases he marked on the map in an effort to show that maybe there's some water connection. It's not this miasma. It's not bad air like most people think it is. It's got to have something to do with water. And if I can show that on a map, maybe I can identify where the contaminated water might be. So you're going to pull up that map. And by the way, this is a scanned map. Does that mean if you have a scanned historical map or an aerial photo or something like that, you can actually put it in its correct geographic coordinate space and put it up into ArcGIS Online? Absolutely, you can do that, just like we did here with the cholera map. So, first of all, practicing good data management skills is important in your use of spatial technology. In the upper right of the map, go ahead and sign into your account in ArcGIS Online. Once you're signed in, go to the upper left of the map and go ahead and click on Home and then Content. You've got some content showing maps and apps, story maps, etc. that you've made inside ArcGIS Online. Go ahead and make a new folder. Folders, new, create a new folder and call it cholera-GTAV or cholera_GTAV, something like that. In other words, on your local computer, you don't put every single thing in one folder. At least I hope you don't. I hope your students don't either, because it's really hard to find stuff afterwards, right? Rather, you make folders, just like a filing cabinet that you might have in the classroom or at home. You put stuff in there in an organized way so you can find it more easily later on. Same thing here. You're going to have folders and content in each one of those folders. So once you click OK, on the left side of your content, you're going to be able to click on your new folder name. You don't have any content in there yet, but if you go back to the map, when you say save, you can save your map with an appropriate name, such as Mapping Cholera in 1854 London, GTAV. Put it in your cholera folder. Okay? Go ahead and store it in your cholera folder. Go ahead and verify now that your map is saved in the cholera GTAV folder as shown here. Note that the content item is a web map and not shared with anyone yet, as indicated by the padlock symbol to the right of the title. Note that if your map is not in your cholera folder, you can click on the box to the left of the title and then go ahead and move it to your cholera folder. You can do that with any content item inside ArcGIS Online in a similar kind of a way that you move stuff around on your own local device, your tablet, your laptop, etc. Now, why did we spend a few minutes discussing content and folders? That might have seemed really boring, okay, but it has a purpose. Managing data is an important skill for students to learn. As you've seen in this module, working with spatial technology means working with a wide variety and volume of data, and understanding where it's located and what type of data it is critical to the successful use of these tools. In this case, you opened a web map, saved your own copy of the web map, which contains several layers, and noted that you have not shared it with anyone yet. And you've also placed it in your working folder. Now, Let's go ahead and examine cholera with a couple different levels. First of all, level 1, the basics. Click on your web map title to begin examining the map. So go ahead and open that. You'll be placed in the metadata screen, which you can populate later with a thumbnail and a more complete description. On the metadata screen, use Open in Map Viewer to view your map as shown here. Now, back on the map, just examine John Snow's original map from 1854, scanned and ready for use in ArcGIS Online. Examine the map and talk about the pros and cons of the map symbols that Dr. Snow used. You know, he didn't have a GIS at his fingertips, right? So what did he use? He used marks on the map. Stacking them, I think, quite effectively to indicate that, hey, certain houses had multiple victims, sadly. Make visible and examine the 1889 Clerkenwell map. Compare the Clerkenwell map to the John Snow map. Discuss how this area of London has changed from 1889 to today, because you've got a current base map behind it, and also how it's remained the same. Using the measure tools, measure the distance from east to west across the study area to get a sense for the scale of the study area. Sometimes students don't have a grasp of how big is this area? Is this a whole city? Is this a neighborhood? It's a neighborhood. Okay, it's several blocks wide, several blocks long. Make visible now the public water pumps layer, and note the clustering of John Snow's markings to the pumps, as I indicated earlier. Make visible the location of baby Lewis's death. This is often referred to as the first or index case for the 1854 August cholera outbreak. Note its proximity to one of the public water pumps. Which pump is it near? Click on baby Lewis's point, and in the pop-up, read why her death was important to Dr. Snow's study. Make visible the Susanna Ely map layer. You won't see it in this neighborhood. Use the Zoom to function to find it, as shown here. Now examine the location of Susanna Ely's death and read in the pop-up why her death was important to Dr. Snow's study. In the distance tool, go ahead and determine how far Susanna lived from the Soho neighborhood. Then zoom back to the Soho neighborhood. Note in the pop-up that she actually got her water from the Soho neighborhood. Died even though she was a far distance away, but because she had had the water, that was another piece of evidence for Dr. Snow from the Soho neighborhood. Examine now the location of the St. James Workhouse and Lion Brewery and read the information about them and their respective pop-ups. Examine the pattern of the cholera deaths in and near the workhouse and brewery and consider the implications of each. No deaths there. Next, examine the location of the pest house field. Read the information in the pop-up and discuss the implications. Consider what you've just done in the above steps. You've been thinking spatially while using spatial technology. At this point, you could stop the lesson and the investigation, and the above activity becomes what you could do with younger age students or with students new to spatial technology. Could be end of lesson right there. A similar basic cholera lesson resides on the Esri Australia lesson library here. You can do similar types of analysis as you did above with any map by not only using this map, but just a few tools in the map, asking meaningful geographic questions and discovering answers. But you can do so much more with this data and by extension with any map by using a few additional tools, which you will explore in the next sections. First, though, a note about the data you are using. As I mentioned, the John Snow cholera map layer is, as you can see, a scanned image. So again, you could take any historical map and scan it in, and at this point in time, you actually have to use ArcGIS Pro desktop software to scan it in and get it into ArcGIS Online. More about that later. There's a point map layer that replicates the John Snow map that you will be using that you can actually do analysis on. That scanned map is just a flat map, right, folks? It doesn't have any sort of database behind it. It's just a scanned image. And in the next level, level 2, we'll dig into some of these analytical tools. But for now, great, congratulations. Level 1, you've pulled up the map, you've asked some geographic questions, you've investigated some patterns, relationships, trends, and you did a great job with that. Thanks.